Hey, what's up? Welcome to ZedTalk number 12. I'm here with Ursula Hegge. How are you?
Thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Ursula and I are old homies from high school, actually. Um, and she's been doing her music journey for the last few years now. Journey? Would we call it a journey?
Yeah, sure. We can call it a journey. Yeah.
Yeah, and you've been putting out single after single after single, and just letting your creativity run wild. So this new single that just came out is called Princess Mononoke. After some people might know it, that's like an anime. Is it on Netflix?
I think so. I'm not actually. I haven't checked actually, but
Okay.
yeah, worth checking out.
What are you watching it on then?
I actually just like found it on 123 Movies or
One,
something
two,
like
three
that.
movies.
Yeah.
Shout out to One, Two, Three Movies. Our guys over at One, Two, Three Movies. So talk to me about this single, the inspiration for it, all that.
Yeah, so like you said, it is largely inspired by the Studio Ghibli movie. I first watched it with my boyfriend last year, and not only did the film really touch me, but it was my first time really spending time with him, and it just felt very special. So I kind of wrote the song about that, about the movie and being able to spend time with him and get to know him a bit better.
I get the sense that like a lot of your music is based on legit experiences.
Yeah, I think there's like maybe two or three songs I've written that haven't been based on things that have actually happened to me, but the vast majority of them are about real experiences I've had.
Are the other ones kind of like biographical, like you kind of try to put yourself in the shoes of a character, kind of?
The other ones, yeah, like a friend of mine went through a bad breakup a few years ago, and so I wrote a song from his perspective on the breakup and to see if it would kind of like help him cope. And it was an interesting kind of process for me to try and write from someone else's perspective too.
Mm, that's super cool. And
Mhm.
how long, like, usually does it take you to write a song? Do you just get them out like really quick, like on the day, the moment you're feeling that emotion, or you know, does it vary?
I mean, yeah, it definitely varies. I used to be able to just like write a song beginning to end in an hour. And now I take a little bit longer than that. What's been happening is usually I write maybe like half a song in an evening over the course of 1 or 2 hours, and then come back to it another day when my brain kind of comes back to it and refreshes.
Mm,
But I don't write songs in one sitting so easily anymore.
mm. That's super cool. And how long have you been doing this? Like, how long have you been making music? I don't think I've ever asked you that.
I've been writing songs since I was 12-ish, so about 10 years now. Um, and before that I like played piano and was interested in music. But that's when I actually started writing.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
Cool. So like your parents probably put you into like piano lessons and stuff like that.
exactly. Yeah. My sister got piano lessons, so I wanted piano lessons too. So I got piano lessons, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Like, did you actually enjoy doing it? Because I find like a lot of people that have like lessons pushed on them, they become these like really talented musicians, but they don't even really enjoy
Mhm.
playing that much.
I think that I did enjoy it up until a point when it got like at a point I was playing mostly like pop music and piano lessons, and then it turned more towards classical and stuff, which I still enjoyed, but not as much. But I got a new teacher and we kind of explored doing jazz and stuff like that together, which was interesting to explore. So no, I actually did enjoy them. It was a good experience.
Yeah, it just took you a little while to get into the songwriting
Yeah. Yeah.
area of it. And you mentioned pop music. So like what is your relation to pop music? Like do you feel like you write songs that could be considered in that vein, or do you see yourself more as an indie folk type of artist?
Yeah, like I always have trouble with that question because I feel like a lot of my music is kind of pop. Um, but as a kid, like I always kind of hated on pop for no reason because it was like mainstream. But I like to kind of I have some influences from pop and some more kind of indie folk influences, and trying to kind of bring like jazz and soul kind of influences in there as well. So I think, my music, the songs often vary in genre. But I guess overall you could say I kind of border the line between kind of pop and indie and soul.
Mm. Yeah, you just kind of write good songs probably. You don't really think about, what it's gonna fall under.
Exactly. Yeah.
When it comes to the jazz and the soul and all that, who are some of like the big names for you that are like have really hit your songwriting, like influence wise?
hmm I don't really know where the jazz came from, other than like I just told you how I did it a bit with my piano teacher.
Yeah.
But I used to really love um, Nina Simone.
Hmm.
And Adele has always been a huge influence of mine, and she's more in kind of the piano ballad style that I try and go into. But yeah, definitely, yeah, Adele is one of my big influences. And when I was younger, Sarah Bareilles as well, who kind of was a bit more upbeat.
Oh, that's cool. Adele makes like these really big albums. And I know for you, like you've released a lot of singles. Is putting like singles into like a record, like is making an album something that you're thinking about doing?
Yeah, definitely. And it's been on my mind for a few years now. Um, it may sound silly, but the main reason that I've never really gotten around to it is because I can't decide what order to put the songs in. So that always just kind of is a block for me. But it's definitely something that's been on my mind. And in fact, we were talking about traveling earlier, and I want to release an EP with some songs that I wrote about my experiences traveling.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, it's definitely on my mind. I just got to get past the kind of song order part of it.
Okay, yeah, that's it. Why do you think the song order is like tricky for you? Like, do you think you try to like make a story out of the songs, and if the mood doesn't mesh together, is that kind of it?
Yeah, like a part of me wants all the songs to be similar in mood so that it creates something cohesive. Then the other part of me gets bored of that. Is though if you listen to too many, sweet guitar songs in a row, you're just gonna hate the next one you hear. So I have difficulty kind of striking that balance between, is this cohesive and is this boring?
Yeah, yeah. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, and yeah, you probably have enough photos for like a cool album cover for that
Yeah.
EP of you traveling.
Yeah.
Um, we were just saying that Ursula has like so many photos of her traveling now that like she can just post photos of her traveling and everyone just thinks she's constantly
Yeah.
like out doing things. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Pretend that I'm, living the life and I'm just stuck at home here like everyone else.
yeah, like everyone else though. I mean, have you found that this has been a good period of time when it comes to songwriting for you for being creative?
I really thought that it would be, because I was kind of like, oh, what else have I got to do? But I experienced like severe writer's block for several months. And it's only in the past month or so that I've actually started writing songs again. And I think it's just because there isn't really anything inspiring going on.
Yeah.
But with the weather getting warmer and I don't know, being able to see the world kind of come back to life in a sense, I think that's really been inspiring for me to start writing songs again.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure it will be. I'm sure you'll probably have some stuff because you got to experience life, right? You got to like
Yeah.
actually, and especially with someone like you who writes songs from a place of like real life experiences. Um, yeah, like some people's songwriting has now gotten like super trippy because they're going into like imaginary worlds because their actual life isn't something that they can write about because nothing
Exactly.
nothing is happening for
Yeah.
them. Yeah, have you ever considered like going into like an imaginary space with your songwriting? I almost felt like before I looked up Princess Mononoke, I almost felt like Princess Mononoke was going to be like an imaginary song. Like maybe you were Princess Mononoke. That's just the way that I thought when I was going into it. Is that something you've ever thought about, like a psychedelic Ursula Hegge track?
I think that could be something that's kind of cool. It's not something that I've done before, but like I always love to experiment and kind of find new ways of songwriting. So definitely I could look into that. Right, another Princess Mononoke. That's the psychedelic one.
I'm just
Um,
saying random stuff.
no, honestly, yeah.
So, do you play piano as your main instrument? Because I'm pretty sure you also play other instruments too, right?
Yeah.
Something.
So I definitely do play piano as my main instrument. Part of that is like we were talking about that I've just been playing it so long. Um, but I also play guitar a little bit and alto sax. And I try to kind of incorporate those in wherever I can.
Oh, that's cool. Is alto sax something you picked up like in school?
Yeah. Again, I feel like my sister has been an influence, strangely enough, because she played alto sax, so then I wanted to play it.
Hmm.
Um, so I picked that up in at the beginning of high school, and I've been kind of playing it off and on since then.
Super cool. Is like your sister also a musician as well, like doing music right now in the same kind of way you are, or?
In a similar way, like she enjoys singing and she also plays harpsichord, interestingly
Oh,
enough.
that's a cool instrument.
Yeah, and she used to play violin pretty well too. She doesn't write songs, but she is into music and enjoys making it. Yeah.
So for the rest of this year, do you think you're going to continue carrying on releasing singles? Do you kind of go off of just what feels right? What's kind of coming up for you?
Yeah, so I've got a song I actually recorded with a producer who I'm friends with, Micah Dern, and we recorded it at Noble Street Studios about a year ago now. And so that's been kind of in the works, and we finished it up a few months ago. And so I'm thinking of releasing that in the fall. Um, as for the rest of the year, I don't have any plans yet, but I think hopefully next year I might be able to kind of get that EP going, like I was talking about. And I've got another a co-written song actually that I'm very excited to show everyone because it's really different from what I usually write.
Yeah. Have you been able to, like, when was the last time you performed live?
I when the lockdowns lifted temporarily in September, I actually managed to perform as an opener for a songwriter friend of mine at the Boat in Kensington Market. So just this past September.
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah.
It's weird that I haven't seen you out. Like, did you go to open mics at all? Because that was kind of where I would go a lot.
I went to one back in like January 2020 or something like
Yeah.
this, like a long time ago.
Yeah.
But since then, I haven't really done much. And I was planning to, before everything hit, I was planning to use 2020 to kind of get into performing more, going to open mics, maybe busking. But then, of course, everything shut down. And when things opened up, it was so temporary that it felt kind of difficult to start doing that. So hopefully when things open up, I'll be able to get into open mics and stuff like that and start performing more live.
Yeah, I'm sure you would. And the collaborative process, so you were working with a producer, you went to Songwriter's Friend, the Boat. Have you written a lot of songs with other people?
Not as many as I'd like. I usually find it kind of difficult just because I sometimes get an idea and I just want to run with it before I realize that there are other people and I have to kind of pause and see what they think.
Mhm.
Um, so not as many as I would like. There are some collaborations that are kind of in the works, but with everything being virtual, it just takes a bit longer. And then sometimes you fall off the wagon, so to speak, and have to kind of get back on it. So it's something that I'm still working on. But there have been a few collaborations which have been pretty cool.
Yeah. And like, are you interested in like going into different genres, like working with people that might be like, doing more of a folk thing and you'll come at it with more of a piano ballad thing? Would that be something you'd be interested in?
Yeah, definitely. And it's been really cool to kind of explore genres the past year or so. And I used to be more kind of soul R&B oriented rather, and now I'm kind of more leaning towards folk, and sometimes even kind of into rock and blues territory.
Mm.
So it would definitely be cool to kind of mix genres with someone who's more comfortable in another genre and see what comes out of that.
Yeah. Do you have like a notebook that you write songs in? I just see you writing in a notebook. I don't know why.
I do. In fact, I have a shelf on my bookshelf in my room that has just like, 10 or 15
Yeah.
notebooks. Because
10 or 15 whole books just completely filled of.
well, it sounds really impressive, but they're pretty small.
Okay.
And I write pretty big. So it's not a lot, or rather it's not as much as it sounds. But yeah, I do have to buy new notebooks, more than I'd like.
Hmm. Do you ever like take parts of songs, lyrics of songs that you didn't end up putting into a song or they didn't work, and then you kind of put them into a new song and they have like a new life to them? That ever
That's a
happened?
really cool idea, in fact, and I've never done that. What I have done is I sometimes write poetry, and so if I have a piece of piano that is really cool, but I don't know what to do with it, then I'll go through my poems and think, oh, this poem, the vibe of this poem kind of fits the vibe of this piano. Let me just pick some lines out and make them rhyme. But I've never actually taken lyrics that I discarded from an old song, and that's a really great idea. I should definitely look into that.
Yeah, it's like parts of a car, like, okay, this wheel
Yeah.
doesn't work, so let's put it into that car, and like you just
Yeah.
change things and things can work. So for the rest of this year, Ursula, um, what would you say kind of sums up like your ambitions for the rest of this year? You want to get out in the street, you want to be playing more, you want to have more singles, you got something that's professionally produced coming out soon.
Mhm.
That sounds pretty inspiring, but I'll let you explain what your year is going to be. What would you say is going to be happening in 2021?
I think I think you summed it up pretty well, honestly.
Which, yeah,
Uh,
should have shut up. Go ahead.
not to worry. Yeah, definitely. Like, when things start to open up, trying to get out there more, and afterwards maybe getting a busking license so I can perform more for people, and trying to connect with more and different artists so I can see what they like and kind of connect it with what I like and get a new perspective on music. And yeah, releasing another single or maybe two if I can push it in there, because I've got a ton of songs sitting around that I just need to record and mix. And they've just never seen the light of day just because I haven't gotten around to it. So yeah,
All right, getting around to it with Ursula Hegge.
yeah.
Let's go. All right, thank you for doing this, Ursula. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And yeah, this has been Zed Talk 12. Come back Friday for Zed Talk 13 with Tennessee. And thank you for coming back.